All right, welcome everybody to our Fierce Leader interview with Kara Manders. She is an executive wellness advocate, and I've been looking forward to letting you guys hear her story a little bit. So, Kara, start us off right away. Tell us, how did you first hear about doTERRA oils?
I actually was referred to Amy, or you, by one of my college roommates, and was totally like on a whim. And yeah, so my friend reached out to me and said, "Hey, this gal knows oils. Do you want to learn more?" I said, "Sure." And within like a week, Amy reached out, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. I mean, if you were Sierra's roommate, ultimately that means we went to college together too, but we didn't know each other. Did you know me?
No. I didn't know you when I was at school.
Okay. So I want to tell you a little bit of that. That's right. I was just right before I was asking you, I was remembering how it all came about. So you're one of the only people I've interviewed that actually was me who helped you and not my mom. So feather in my cap. I'm just kidding. Sierra did not buy oils when she and I talked, which is fine. She chose not to, totally fine. But I went ahead and asked for referrals anyway. And she gave me 5 referrals. You were one of them. And did we text back and forth a little bit before we set up our online meeting? Or you were pretty much ready to set up a one-on-one, weren't you?
I think I was pretty set to just, set something up right away. I don't remember if the timing worked out to where it could be that quick. With my daughter being younger, I think that in working, that was kind of getting in the way a little bit of that, but we got together as soon as we could, and I was interested to learn more because I hadn't heard much about it.
Yeah, I remember that you were pretty game. I do remember Carly, and I remember that you didn't you seemed very open to the whole process, right? Oh yeah, I'll hop on Zoom with you, or I'll connect with you, right? You didn't give me a hard time. You understood that I was just oh, I can help you. And if you want it, cool. And if not, no big deal.
Yeah.
Do you remember so you never got a sample? You bought a kit sight unseen.
I believe so. Yeah.
Do you remember what kit it was?
I think it's the Healthy Start kit now. So this 5 ml before they had the diffuser. So I missed out on that.
I know, totally. Did you have a first product? When they showed up, did you have a first product that you fell in love with since you'd never seen the oils before and you bought them anyway?
Yeah, my favorite was Breathe. And I think it still is, other than Adaptive. I mean, that one, can't go wrong with that. But yeah, the Breathe kind of, I fell in love with quickest because I needed that respiratory support with the sinus infection I had. And I didn't want to take anything while I was nursing. So that was the big one.
Do you feel like you dug into your oils right away, or it took you a while to incorporate them, or what did that look like?
I think I used a couple of them right away, but then it took me a while to kind of get through the oregano and frankincense, just because they weren't as common to me. And I maybe didn't remember how to use them. But after I started using them regularly, then I was going through them pretty quick.
Moving through them. Did you want to share oils right away, or how did that process unfold for you?
No, it took me a while. I don't remember if it was 6 months or a year of actually using the oils that I decided I wanted to share them. And I don't remember, I might've been pregnant with Ryan, with my second, when I decided that I wanted to share, because I was working part-time and kind of wanted to add that second extra fun money on the side. And that was kind of the determining factor.
I think it must have been a little bit before, because you and I were pregnant at that leader retreat that we did. And so I think that your decision to be engaged in sharing must have been a little bit before coming to that retreat.
That might be right. Yeah, I don't, all the timing is all.
I know, it's hard to keep track of it all. It really is. Well, you kind of started, correct me if I'm wrong, you were kind of talking with your Bible study about it, the people you were working with, because at the time you were working on site as a trainer, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I was able to kind of talk to those people that I had built a connection with already, and said hey, these oils might be helpful. If you want to learn more, I would love to tell you about them, and kind of took off
from there. Because the process that had brought you ultimately on board was the process of like this strange lady calling you, but setting up that time to have that sales conversation format, right? And so when you were connecting with those people from your work that you were working with in that capacity, correct me if I'm wrong, you were kind of using the idea of like, we can talk about oils, we can do it separately than this time, and then having that sales, right? That's kind of how you did it.
Yeah, I definitely had them separate because I didn't want to cross any lines.
And then you did one-on-ones more than classes, and you had quite a few enrollments right off the bat. You plugged along.
Yep. It took me a little bit to get comfortable to the class and the multiple people at a time talking to them, which I'll explain why later, because I think there's some other questions that you'll ask that'll bring it out. But yeah, I started with one-on-one and mostly with people that I knew because I didn't feel confident enough reaching out to people I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't quite sure what I wanted when I started. I just kind of was doing it as something fun to help others learn about because I thought it was cool.
You want to be cool like me.
Oh, exactly.
Kidding. I'm giving you such a hard time. What are some ways that you've been able to infuse your passion, like for the things that you love, the things that you do, your job and doTERRA alongside that?
I feel like they really do go hand in hand because if I'm like looking at what I really am passionate about, it's about helping others. Mm-hmm. Whether that's exercise, nutrition, the oils are just that added layer to that wellness that I think is really important. And I wouldn't be where I am physically, emotionally, spiritually without those oils. So I think it's important to have that holistic mindset going in.
Yeah, it seems throughout this whole process that it's been like a really good fit for the things that, I totally would agree with that. What do you feel like you want to create with doTERRA? And it might just be, you talked about like, I just want some, something extra, and that's totally legit. But what is that? What do you feel like that looks like for you?
If I'm thinking like long term, I mean, I would love for it to be like one of my sole incomes. Right now, that's not realistic. Just with where I'm at and time wise, but I would love to be able to pull like the personal training, the nutrition coaching, and the oils into like one single business and build my own business from there and have my own passion be all that it is. So I'd say that would be a long-term goal. Right now, it's just getting oils in as many people's hands as they can because I know it's going to be effective for them.
Mm-hmm. You're like doing all of those things that you love kind of separately, but under one. And to bring that all into one thing would be super cool. Like your own one thing would be really cool. What do you feel like, what are some things that this whole process has done for you, like personally, professionally?
Yeah. I wouldn't, as I think I just said, wouldn't be where I was without the oils. Emotionally, confidence wise, that was kind of what I was alluding to a little while ago. Building up like the business aspect of it, going through some of the trainings that I did earlier on. I don't remember what they were called.
Launch training, probably you
did. Launch training.
Yeah,
that and some of the ones through doTERRA business training was super helpful with the oils, but also when I was personal training, just that confidence of selling in general. I am not a salesperson at all. And I don't consider my doTERRA business sales because it's, as you say, a passion of helping others. So being in doTERRA has helped build that confidence so that I can share in a way that makes it feel genuine and not forced.
Do you feel like it's true that the things that you've learned, like in the sharing oils process, are things that you've been able to utilize in your other like jobs that have helped those too? Like, have they been applicable there too, some of those skills?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of those things that I've learned as personal trainer, nutrition coach also are incorporated in what I do with doTERRA. So
very interesting.
All those skills have very much meshed together. And have made a world of difference in just the confidence and my emotional state.
This might seem redundant, but maybe it's not. Maybe it makes you think of something else. Like what would you say is the biggest benefit that you've gotten out of doTERRA up to this point?
Yeah, kind of similar, just that self-confidence, and that emotional side of things. I know that through the pregnancies that I've had, there's been some like depression type stuff. And I think the oils have really brought me out of that into a place where I can be myself and not have to hide that.
Really interesting. Thanks for sharing. If somebody were considering starting a doTERRA business like now, why would you say that now is a good time?
It's a great way to build connection. I mean, right now with the pandemic, you don't get at as much. And maybe that's part of why I love doTERRA too, is I get to talk to people, which I don't normally when I'm at home with kids. So it's a good way to build that connection. And just kind of figure out where you want to be and not where you're forced to be when you're in a position at like a solid workplace. Sometimes you don't have the freedom to change things up in a way that you want, and doTERRA really gives you that freedom to not get stuck in that day-to-day 9 to 5, but to build what you want.
I love that. Is there anything else that like you're like, oh, I definitely want to share? What else? Am I missing something?
I can't think of anything.
I thought that was good. I liked hearing that from you. You and I, you know, poor Kara usually takes like her work break to spend with me, which is like because that's not a break if for anyone who knows me. So she's a trooper. But I thought it was really interesting and neat to hear your responses to those. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your journey, Kara.
Yeah.